ain't even tapped in, man. But see what it is. The Alpha series, basically. Um, as you can see, I'm on 2K22. Everything I'm making on 23. I already made on here for the most part, where I started at least. And so this is the alpha where I came up with the actual idea to make the schools that I'm going to use for my IRL series, the NAIA portion of it. Basically, school is representative of the actual school that I go to or went to at the time. And it's going to bring that realism aspect to it. You know what I mean? I have a way that I'm gonna do the ratings. So what I did here is I created presets. I'll show y'all that in a second. But basically, to get a baseline for the presets, for the ratings, because these aren't NBA players, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of hard to get realistic ratings, because you kind of have to you kind of got to test the actual, like, scale of the attribute. So, like, the effectiveness of a certain attribute level. You know what I mean? And the way that I do that is, which I'll show in this too, I guess, briefly. You know what I mean? For future purposes, documentation purposes. But these are all real people, by the way. You know what I'm saying? I don't know these guys, but they play in the SAC conference of the NAIA, which is, where the basketball team for the school I attended, that I've been attending the last few years out here. They got a campus in Plainview. And so this was all just an idea of, like I said, when I was playing in my career, they had, I was just going to make a animated series of me going and playing in the NBA. This was, I think, either this year or last year, maybe last year. And I think 2 years ago, where they let you actually start in high school, is where I started the idea. So 2K21, I believe, probably it was. And I was like, yo, when I make the series, I'm gonna act like high school clips are college clips. When they got, whatever team, you're on. I was like, yo, this would be a good, this would be good, like animated content to kind of repurpose and use as, like, as if I went to community college, because it's like, me, there's no way I would just walk on at the time, to Texas Tech, where I chose. Obviously I chose Texas Tech because, I'm in Texas. So that was a realism aspect to it, you know what I mean? And yeah, so this was 2K21, and I was fucking with it, and I was like, yo, it would be dope, if I just made a video. I was watching people on YouTube, for years, blend, GTA with gaming and stuff. And like I said, my shorty would watch me stream and stuff, and I just got into the role-playing aspect of it, like making my dude, I always had an idea, I was going to stream me doing my IRL build, you know what I'm saying? Campaigning, it's always something I had in my mind, but it was like I kind of started taking it serious because I went and got a graphics card, and I was like, yo, I'll just make videos, like basketball videos, breaking shit down, because I would make these players and it would be my real size. Look, I think that was the first time too they put like the slight body type on there. So I was like, oh, this shit literally, like, it looks like me and move, you know what I mean? So I was like teaching a lot of my homies, not even just how to play the game, but how to play the game within, what I'm saying, it's a basketball game within the limits of actually, using basketball techniques, you know what I'm saying? And so I would kind of use it as like a illustrator, and how do you call that? Like a, what do they call it? Not a visualizer, but basically like where you can interact with something, like a simulator, basically. You know what I'm saying? And I was using it as that. Oh yeah, by the time I start making these guys right here, sidebar, I had got real good at for the most part at designing players. So what I would do, let me not even get off track. Let me just stay in order because I tend to do that because there's a lot of information. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, these are real dudes. So yeah, so big picture story. So I started off doing this shit. Well, 2K20, and I actually still have the video files of that 2K20. This is something I did probably like all growing up, but definitely like I remember, what was it? The one with the Luka and Real Madrid. You know what I'm saying? I would make, this is back when I was hooping too. You know what I'm saying? I would make me and all my homies that I went to high school with, all my friends on the game. You know what I'm saying? And I would turn the international teams into oh wow, I didn't even do him yet. Into high school teams. You know what I'm saying? From wherever, you know what I'm saying? And even back when I was in high school, like I would make, back when they had the create a team thing, I would always either make like college teams or, I was always on shit like that, you know what I'm saying? And, I just carried that over to where, I would stream it, you know what I'm saying? This is years ago, I would stream it. All my homeboys would be, like, oh shit, I would make them, and just like a virtual, like an interface, I guess you could say. Like, I can't even think of the word I'm trying to use, but basically, it was just a platform basically that I could use to just kind of, you know what I'm saying, we could test who was doing what against who. It was like on some meta type shit, ain't it? So that concept years ago, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I would build everything out, different teams and stuff. I remember doing that in like 2011, 2012, you know what I mean? But I remember like 2005 on like the college hoops joint. Me and my friends, we would all just pick our schools and we would make ourselves, our projected selves. But yeah, like I just took all that and I would just be like, man, if that's the type of shit I like to do. I like to create people, I like to do simulation style, but like fantasy, like my league type shit. Just, it's a basketball game. You got all the best players in the world. You got systems now where, they got individual move sets and things like that. So I was just like, that's just something I would do in my free time for fun, you know what I'm saying? Especially while I was in school, like get off work, you know what I mean? Like, be like, yo, I'm gonna just make all, just, it's where the imagination, it's like an animated, imaginary simulation, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna get the wording for it right, don't worry about it. But yeah, it's just something I would always do. And I would stream it, my homies would watch it, they would play it, they'd be like, yo, this would be crazy, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would share the videos, you know what I'm saying? But it wasn't like a thing now to where there's, I guess it was a thing, but it wasn't like, it's like commonly like interwoven into like mainstream society where people were consuming that kind of content, you know what I mean? Like, even guys like Chris Smooth and all that shit was like a niche, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I always wanted to do something like that, but it was just like, bro, it was just a hobby, you know what I'm saying? It was just a personal passion, you know what I'm saying? Passion project. So it was like something I would do for myself, and it was like, who would really get it, you know what I mean? But then, as this world's been built over, you know what I mean? And I guess really once they start putting the face scan on the games and shit, it kind of added an element of like, yo, I could put me on the game, but then even still, it's like, there's a limited realism to it because it's just like you playing NBA players, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, even as you're building your guy, like me, I'm a guy, like I say, I'm big on like realism. So as I'm building my guy, I would never, you know what I'm saying, at the time, especially, I had no idea what it would feel like to play against actual NBA players. So it was only so realistic to a point. I'm just like, and on other games was like pre-face scan, you know what I'm saying, or in the early builds of face scan, you know what I'm saying? So it's just one of them things where I was just like, bro, it would be hard to just make my reality, make people, I don't know, just something I just began to do, you know what I mean? Because I was like, it's just like with draft classes and things like that, you know what I mean? You're going to make players that don't, exist on the game yet, but you're going to try to relatively make them and make a realistic rate, and it's something people have always done, I just started doing it with my, with my friends and basing it off my actual life, and I'm not gonna say the ratings were like the best, but I would just try to, like me and my homie and my brother, or especially like me, Core and Kai, you know what I'm saying? We would make ourselves against the EuroLeague players, and we would try to make it feel like, yo, we're in this bitch, you know what I mean? So just something I did. And then so like when my career came around and they started putting you in college and things like that, it just inspired me to, basically, like I say, 2K21, I think I don't know, always have fun. Like when I would watch somebody play, I would have fun like making them on the game, so I could like, emulate or reimagine their movement and just make hypothetical situations and play them out, you know what I mean? There's no way to really do, it's not, I can go finance and fund a league in real life where I could, make all this shit happen. So I just started making my homies that played pro. And like I say, I kind of, when I was on the game and I, it just started off with me and my homies or me and my shorty, I would be trying to teach them certain things that I knew about basketball. And then it was just something that hit me, like, this would be hard, like if I just make me or just make players at a smaller level so people can learn that low, because that's where basketball starts, is learning at the lower level, you know what I'm saying, with high schoolers and things like that. So it's like I just made me, my homies, and all of us, blah, 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 in high school, whatever. And then I made a lot of my homies that played college or pro ball, and I was like, yo, because, this was a thing on YouTube, people would make LaMelo or, whoever, Zion at the time, whatever, and they would just play with them as their the characters. And I remember my brother asked me one year to make Pierre Jackson, and I don't know. Really, I was just trying to. I guess I was telling my shorty or my other friends, how it would be, like the difference between the level I was ever at or the people I knew was at in the NBA level, and how it's a big difference, a big gap. You know what I mean? And how I knew people that were on the cusp of making it and on the cusp of even being good enough, but they just weren't there. And how NBA is just the top level. You know what I mean? So it's like it would all stem from I would play in like my leagues and things like that, and then I would score every play with like a certain player, and guys would be like, "That's not really like you just doing." I'm like, bro, go watch the game, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not only just go watch, for one, you don't know basketball, but two, if you watch the real games, the best players, bro, they're just so trained that they just keep it simple. The person who can keep it simple and stay as consistent, they're gonna dominate. You know what I'm saying? So it's like uh, trying to explain that shit to people, man, and them not really getting it. It's just where I would have to break certain shit down, or I was playing rec with my homies. Like, because like I say, I think one year I didn't make my actual self, and I was like dominating, and it was just like overkill. You know what I'm saying? It was just not even fun because it was just like niggas wouldn't give me the ball because one year not based off my real size, just ideal like a shot creator, and then it got boring that year because I just was like I said, I knew more basketball than all these niggas. I just was better than all of them. Knew more basketball in real life, knew more 2K, and it was just like I built a player based off of what I'm saying, my ideal play style. Like if I was to make a player like everybody, like I don't do that no more, but that was like one of the years where I was like, all right, I'm gonna make like a fantasy build type, and it wasn't even really like a fantasy build. It was like more like I'm gonna just build a guard. You know what I'm saying? Like to fit, because they was already playing. I was like, I'll build something that'll fit y'all team, whatever, right? I was letting everybody tell me what to make, and I made the player. I didn't really like it at first, but then I learned the game and how to use the player, and I just dominated everybody. You know what I'm saying? I just dominated. You know what I'm saying? I got the clips still, so I can show y'all. I'll insert some of the clips. Oh, cause it's just like, bro, niggas been playing video games in 2K since we was kids. You know what I'm saying? But it was like we actually went outside and played real ball too. So it's like we weren't on here practicing shit that didn't work. It was still like a reality-based game. But niggas knew it was just a game, but you could actually play the game back then, and it was like representative of real basketball. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I come from just those days of actually, playing ball in real life. You know what I'm saying? To say so, it was just kind of like, the way I would play. So I was like a combo guard. I was basically like a shooting guard. So the way I was, the era I come from, a nigga get hot, you just feed him. So what would happen is I would get hot. And, everybody else is, like my dad used to say about pickup ball, ain't nobody come here to watch you score every play. So what can I say, man? I just got to keep it real, man. Niggas start hating on me. They wouldn't pass, I'll be, scoring every play. Niggas is, you know, going through the lane trying to, they just trying to have their own little fun. And, I was just competitive. I'm like, shit. But then when we would play the good teams, niggas would be nowhere to be found, you dig? So it just kind of like, it got to the point where I'm like, man, I can't, niggas is hating me, That's when I really seen, like, I'm like, yo, I'm better off playing pro or some shit if I'm gonna play this shit. Like, niggas just ain't have my competitive drive, and even if they did, they just ain't have I ain't gonna say my skill level, I just mean like my commitment, my dedication, like, to actually get better. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, niggas just ain't had that dedication to just really, like, fuck it, nigga, I'm gonna be the best on this bitch, you know what I'm saying? Like, actually do it, though. So then once I started realizing that the game started getting whacked, because it was just like, I'm playing with niggas, and it's not even really about, who's playing the best and this and that, the third. Niggas is just trying to play a certain way. It wasn't about who is efficient, who is really the best. It's just like the GOAT debate and shit. Not really about like, oh, is Michael Jordan really the most proficient, efficient player we ever seen? Or do I like his play style? Do I like, this and that? Do I like the way it looks? Or is it something that I would be able to understand? Like, or like boxing, when people say like Tyson is the greatest of all time. It's just like, it's because they don't understand the nuances of boxing. For one, a lot of them never boxed. And two, even if they have boxed, they're not boxing at the highest level where, everybody's skill level is so high that it's the little, it's the chess match of it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I started realizing like certain people operate on a different level. Like sports is all for enjoyment, but only a certain remnant of people can really get it at the level, you know what I'm saying, where it's like they're really understanding the intricacies of it, like appreciating the beyond the entertainment value, like the mental aspect and damn near the spiritual aspect of it, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's real psychological. So with that being said, it was just kind of like, I kind of just out, you know what I mean? Like, the whole culture, that's when I kind of realized, like, yo, I'm too old for the game. Because, back in the day, you know what I'm saying, it wasn't like no my league and my career, like rec, you know what I mean? You just play head to head, and it was just about, bro, whether you won or you lost. Like, you playing Madden, you playing whatever, playing Fight Night. The game was about competition, bro. Like, am I beating the other player? And you win, nigga, the best way you could. You find the things that work for you. It was just strategy. It was like a virtual chess system, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, now there's a whole thing of niggas just talking shit and trying to make clips and like the whole cheesing and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Niggas cheesing and going in the rec and building a cheese build where they could just put up big numbers, and you could just, it's just like a low self-esteem thing to me, where it's just like of course it's a game, but I mean, just certain elements of life show themselves in different areas. So it's like, if you never really been good at a game, and then you find a way, you hop on a wave, and they dumb the game down to where even a novice at basketball or even a novice at the game can compete and do things that are kind of unguardable, that's going to change the flow of, like, how people play, you know what I mean? So it's like, it started to be a thing of like, you would get in there and play against people that were like unguardable because they were doing non-basketball moves. And what do I mean by that? The dribble cheesing, where you could literally carry or travel. It's crazy though, because in the NBA, that's where the shit goes. But art imitates life and vice versa. So it's like, it just became more about being more entertaining on a mass level, and being more digestible for other people. So they built the game to where you wouldn't really need to know too much about basketball to play and have fun. It was more just about fun and microtransactions, because these kind of people that kind of just want to play for fun, or know what I mean? Those are, let's just say it, kids or people that are caught up in it, trying to fit in with the whole movement and the culture of the video game world of like videos going viral on YouTube, TikTok, or whatever at the time, Vine, whatever. And people like, oh, like getting attention for posting their clips of breaking people's ankles and hitting, fadeaways and all this stuff. Like, like it's just like high school, man, like, or anything, bro. Like when you got people that aren't naturally like charismatic or don't really command things, aren't, really, I hate to use the term alphas, but like, yeah, aren't really like that. They get caught up in that shit and they get a fake identity. So a lot of my friends, man, that were playing, just say this, they were living through their fake little bills and stuff like that. So I just kind of realized, I'm like, yeah, I'm not playing with y'all because y'all kind of letting this shit like get to your head. Not even get to your head, like you niggas is delusional because you're not even good, you know what I'm saying? And like you're not, so I did something where I was like, man, I told my homies like, yo, let's make like everybody make your real self on here and let's just play like for fun, we'll run, whatever. So niggas was doing it, and I promise you that was the most fun I ever had on a 2K, bro. Like all my homies made themselves, and we would play in the we would play in the my court, and it was like the closest thing we were trying to get to doing the private programs with like our real players. You know what I'm saying? Of course, it was always that one dude like a Kai who, he was making his ball handling better than it was and stuff, But then again, that would just show like, you know what I'm saying, like where niggas would change their badges and stuff. I think, you had like Mikey, Marcus, Core, like me, I mean, yeah. So we just made it to like, yo, all right, we just gonna make yourself like, and it's gonna be based off of like, what you would be today if you went and tried to make it to the NBA. So you can make yourself as good as you want to be, but it's like have some integrity with like the type of person you making, like make it you, and that's where you get to see who really got confidence in themselves, where it's like, can you really make yourself, Millie would, So that's what I'm saying. We all just got into a thing where we would make our IRL builds, and I would talk shit. I'm like, bro, you know what I'm saying? I done made my IRL build. You know what I'm saying? You niggas can't fuck with me because I make myself every year, and I'll go in there, and I'm more impactful than y'all. You know what I'm saying? And so it got to the point where I was able to dominate on my IRL player in the rec. So it was like, that would just be me popping my shit. Like, y'all niggas can't even fuck with, y'all can't even fuck with, my real player. You're making these fantasy guys, and you're not as good as I am on my real guy. And so that's when I start coming up with like, that's when I start understanding and really start branding like what I really always felt like, yo, out of this shit, pound for pound, I'm the best nigga pound for pound. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like anybody, bro, straight up, anybody can get on here, make fantasy builds and make YouTube builds. Because that's what these niggas was doing, getting on YouTube and looking up releases and cheesing. And I'm like, bro, I'm making the real me. And then at the end of the day, that's why I was better than everybody, because I was making my player based on reality. And then it just was better. Like, nigga just start, it's just better, like, always to, like, if you bragging or you boasting or whatever, if you doing it for real, like, the niggas who put it to you like this, bro, if you get caught, if I'm natural and you're doing steroids, right, you go out, you breaking the home run record, whoa. Right, the moment you get caught doing steroids, or the moment you fall off and you don't live up to what a steroid player is doing, you get exposed, you get deflated. It's nothing into it now, because it's like, yo, you on steroids and you still not getting the results that a nigga should be getting on steroids, versus a nigga who is all natural, Ken Griffey with it, you know what I mean? I'm leading in all the real statistics, getting on base, RBI, uh, you know, my batting average, you know what I'm saying? Shit like that. If I'm really dominating in that, and then you on steroids, but you're inconsistent on steroids, it's like you really can't even fuck with a nigga like me for real. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it don't have that same effect. So that's what I was trying to tell niggas, and that was showing in itself. Like when I would brag about certain shit, it just would hit different because niggas knew when they are like when you lose and you cheating, you look so much more dumb like than a nigga who just naturally, you know what I'm saying, on they shit. So it's just like niggas start peeping that, and I mean at the end of the day, niggas was trying their hand at it, but I really was the only nigga bros that really, you know, stuck with it. You know what I'm saying? Me and Millie even, and I guess Kai to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I was the only nigga really making it. Not only was I making somebody my size, I was making somebody that played like me. You know what I mean? I could easily make a 5'10", whatever, and just have this nigga with a 99.3. Like, bro, that's not me. I wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? And so that will always be my thing of talking shit. Is like, bro, niggas hiding behind the game, man. You know, so even when I would play rec, every win was more satisfying. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm busting niggas' asses, you know, it's like one of them things you'll see on some of the clips I show. When I bust a nigga ass, it just looked different because it was being shared and communicated is like, yo, this is an element of my skill level, not just me abusing the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my actual skill level. You know what I'm saying? Like this, and for me to have that skill level, it comes with a certain amount of knowledge because everybody can't play that way. You know, dropping 25 and having 13 assists, and you know, like in the biggest games, and I'm busting cheesers. I'm locking down the dribble, the little quote unquote dribble quote unquote gods and stuff like that. It just looked different. So for every game where I'm playing with integrity and I win, it's more merit to it. You know what I'm saying? There's more value to it than if somebody's running around cheesing, breaking the game, busting my ass, doing shit that's not realistic, and it's kind of just an element of, you know, the game being broken. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I just realized, and I would stream and I would do it, and I would be like, yo, or when I would play with my other homies, they'd be like, yo, that's crazy. Your nigga play just like you. I would get a lot more respect for playing that way. And it was a lot more impressive. And I realized there was like a space for that. Like, you know, I'm like, yo, what if I would go on YouTube and, you know, just show niggas like pound for pound. Like, I don't pay for VC, no years. I don't make these fake ass bills, yada, yada, yada. I make me, and I'm showing you pound for pound with just, you know, this game is just based off of IQ. Based off of IQ, my player's limited. He don't, you know, certain things he can't do. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't do. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm literally just building me, and I'm putting me against your fantasy build, and I'm busting your ass. And either you're just, you know, you're better than me because you built a better player and you're better at the game than me, or the game is broken, or I'm busting your ass. Like, even if you beat me, if I'm giving you a run for your money and I built my real self, what does that really say, bro? You know what I'm saying? Now, if you build your real self and you bust my ass, then, you know what I mean? Then you get credit. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you know what I'm saying? But until then, till I see somebody doing that, you know, and even then, you know what I'm saying? Like, in real life, you wouldn't compare a point guard to a small forward, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's when I started getting into the pound for pound, and you know what I mean? And deciding every year I'm gonna make me, and I'm gonna just make mixtapes, you know, cause I'm like, bro, and then it gets into idolatry when you're building these fake characters and you're living through these fake characters and stuff. Like, let me just build me, because what it was doing, it was heightening my basketball IQ, because I had to learn, like, really analyze, damn, how would a player this small play against players, you know what I'm saying? Like, something that that's the reason a lot of us, and I say us, but I just mean me growing up as a guard, right? Reason why a lot of guards or smaller players are more skilled is because they have to find different ways to score because they lack, um, off the charts either off the charts athleticism, or sometimes they have it and they just still don't have the size. So that's just an element of basketball, is people understanding the nuance and the art to just even being a guard. So it's like that's kind of where, uh, that's just how I always built my play style. So it's like I would play on the game and notice certain things, and then in real life it would translate. So it was like the same thing as when I was younger that I was speaking on before, of like us playing the game, but then going outside, and then you hear a lot of players now saying, "What, I learned that move from 2K." Da-da-da-da. So it's like you didn't have uh, guys coming out and doing whole YouTube channels where they break down all their moves for you. You know what I mean? You have to study that on your own. Maybe they might do one piece, but they wasn't sharing their best moves or their train. So it was like there was stuff like that, but it wasn't in mass like it is now. Like so it wasn't as acceptable, and there wasn't as much money behind the production value. Now, if you watch a trainer, it's damn near like you watching a game. The cameras is high resolution and all of that. So it's like you watching the highest level and highest version of uh, these things, man. So it's like, yeah, man. Like it was just one of them things. I realized like this was a niche. This was something I was good at that not a lot of people was good at. That's the same reason I started making music versus balling. I realized I was more rare. You got to go where you're more rare, where you got more value. You know what I'm saying? A competitive advantage. So I was like, yo, one thing about me is if I make my streams, yada yada, right? It's like that's gonna be my market employee. That's my crown jewel. Is like, yo, yeah, you make videos, you do this and that, but I'm making me though. This is really like, this is me. And so I started doing that, but then, like I say, just to tie it all back, I started doing that and I realized I'm a stream like that. So then a lot of my homies though, was making it to, D1 and making it damn near to the league. And so I start bursting the question like, yo, like how would I do if I went to try to play pro? You know what I'm saying? Woo, woo, woo. So I would just make my leagues where I would create all my homies that were at a higher level, but it was easier to play against them because I remember playing, I've played up against them versus trying to play against NBA players and due to my career and all that. But basically, yeah, I was just saying those are different series I could make. So I just started a college league where, I downloaded the little college shit and I just made all my homies and put them on certain colleges. Then I ended up making like a high school team, or some of my young niggas, they high school team, like the ones that from my alma mater that played after us. And I was just like, yo, let's just play my senior year versus their senior year, and certain things like that, and just all creative content. And my whole goal was like, at the time, just doing it to do it, I guess. I guess I didn't realize that all this stuff would disappear off the servers, but it was just something I was doing at the time. And I would do it every year when I would get close, I would run out of time and it would be the next game. So then when I was like planning my career, going back to what I was saying about like how they started letting you play in high school, college, and all of this, I was like, oh shit, this fit well with the content that I'm making. And so I was like, I'll just start being one of those guys. Like, I used to always see the guys like, I forget what his name is, but he would make all the high schoolers. And, I was like, yo, I'll make that, but make the content like, it'll be role playing. Since this is me, I'm not playing as a high schooler, I'm playing as me. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yo, that'd be something I can stream. You know what I mean? And that's back when they would leave your streams up. And so I was like, yo, I found my niche with the content I'll stream. And so every year I would run out of time, or the new game would come out and it would be better than the one where I made all the players. So I was just like, yo, I should do that again. I went and I did what I'm doing now. I just went to all the created players and so yeah, that's what I was gonna do. I was gonna remake everybody, and guess what 2K did? They changed all the look. You see right here how you got the appearance presets? They changed all of them. So everybody I made, I would have had to remake all of their faces from scratch, you know what I'm saying? And so then once they did that 1 year, that kind of stumped my idea, because what I was going to do is make a my league with all my homies and do a fantasy draft. That's what it was. You get yourself, and then, bro, from the player pool, you got to download, it was like a little pro league of all my niggas that I actually knew. And I was going to make the ratings realistic, you know what I'm saying? And so, because like I say, one of the niggas I knew, Pierre Jackson, you know what I'm saying? He was on a 2K. That's where I started getting the ratings from, because Pierre was on 2K before. So I was like, yo, I'm going to use his rating, you know what I'm saying? And then Troy, you know what I'm saying? Troy Brown, who went to one of the high schools I went to, you know what I'm saying? Grew up knowing him. My brother and them know him. He a little younger than me, so I went to school with his sister. And so I was like, I know how you know what I'm saying? I know how Troy getting down, so I'm like, nigga, and Nigel, William Goss and all of them, and I'm like, bro, I'm gonna just make the best niggas that I played against, or not played against, but been around, basically, like, you know what I'm saying, and played against, and I'm gonna throw them all into a league, and I'm like, yo, we just gonna do a little my league, I'm gonna make everybody, and then it's a fantasy draft, so you get you, and then, a few other, then from there, you got to draft from the pool. So we was doing that. I started it. A few people was doing it, but it was like I didn't have enough players to fill the league out. So there was, all kind of random players. So every team, had, only 2 players or shit like that. But the concept was there. So I was like, yo, just knowing, this would be a dope thing to do. And, I was going to do it again the next year, and they changed the face presets, and they just changed everything. So it was kind of like, it set me back, and I really didn't have the time to really do it. But knowing me, every year, after you play my career, and then I think Next Gen came out, and I just realized, the game was kind of broken, you know what I'm saying? Because I was playing with my guy, and I think that's when they tried to patch the blow by, which is so dumb, because that's just an element of basketball. You know what I mean? The blow by is the easiest move in real life, you know what I mean? But they couldn't get it right, and they were transitioning in the Next Gen, so it was kind of it was just agreed upon that was one of the things that they just wasn't going to fix. And so that kind of ruined my career for me, and all of that, my content, because the gameplay wasn't realistic. Like me, I'm a guy, I'm fast, so it was I wasn't even able to play. It was just too much effort to do things on the game that I actually can do in real life. And I remember always saying that, yo, I could do this. I was like, yo, I kind of want to show that this game is broken. You know what I mean? And I was like, yo, I'll be that guy that'll make this content, because what would happen, the game would come out, it would be a perfect game, and then you had these fucking lame ass YouTubers coming up and speaking on the behalf of these kids that didn't really, people that don't play basketball or don't know basketball or just don't respect what 2K being simulation basketball really meant, is just that you could actually get on the game and just play basketball. It's like a chess version of the NBA. You know what I'm saying? It's people didn't respect that. You had the 2K league, and a lot of people paying for things, and the YouTubers, a lot of them were promoting the game and getting people to buy VC and stuff like that. So it was 2K started kind of fucking with them, and it was the game just started becoming more arcade-ish, you know what I'm saying? So that's when I was like, yo, if their voice can be heard. But then I started seeing other people on YouTube make videos about what I was saying. I seen Chris Smooth go in and try to play the 2K League, and he was just like, yo, the shit was kind of cheese, and you know, so they was running the OG off this shit, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, nah, fuck that. I was like, if anything, just in my free time when I'm streaming, you know, because I was in school at the time, so it was like that would just be what I would do at my downtime, on my little weekends, or maybe my Sabbath, right? And hold on, get my words together. But yeah, I was saying my Sabbath. I was speaking on the Sabbath because now it's, you know, quote unquote Jewish culture, that's becoming more mainstream. So, bro, trust me, it was a day, like I said, when I couldn't even explain to somebody that I kept the Sabbath and I couldn't come out from sundown to sundown and this and that, the third, right? Like, but now that all this shit is going mainstream, eh? But where was I at? Oh yeah, and I was just like, bro, you know, I'm gonna make my content. You know, I was watching a lot of YouTubers and streamers. I was like, yo, I could do this, you know what I'm saying? Just on my downtime on some fun shit, you know, and just use it to promote all the shit I got going in real life, you know what I'm saying? So just looking at it from that perspective. And just a way, you know, because like I say, when I was playing rec, it would be a lot of shit talking. Oh, your ass, this, that, the third. You don't know this. I'm like, bro, you niggas don't. Then it just started to be a discussion of people thought they knew basketball because they was playing 2K. You know what I mean? They're basing real life shit, what they're seeing off of 2K. And I was like, bro, the shit y'all do on here would never be done in real life. And then I just started, you know, comparing the game mechanics to real life and things like that. And I was like, yo, that's gonna be my mission, because even when you would go to the gym and play real ball, people would come down the court and play as if they were playing in the rec or my career or pro-am, right? And it was like, even my friend, he came out here, he was shooting from he's a good shooter. He was shooting from places he can shoot from, but it was almost like he didn't realize he didn't have, like, it's like he forgot about stamina. You know what I mean? And then that's when I realized, I say, yo, this game is making people delusional. And I would go play at the park against certain kids. I'm talking about real life. And they were doing dumb shit. And I was just like, yo, this whole culture is ruining the game. Or I would go to the gym and guys wouldn't pass me. They were like, yo, he's a slasher. He's a slashing shot. I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, or even my brother, somebody, you know, my age, bro, like he would be describing players like, oh, he's a shot, like he's a slashing shot. I'm like, bro, you're basing a human being off of a pie chart on a game where they have to limit what you're able to do. You know what I mean? Like, it just started affecting the way people that even knew basketball were talking about basketball. And I was just like, yo, this is so crazy. So I just decided I was going to make something to speak out, because I always been a person in love with the mechanics, the moves of certain players, what y'all might call animations. Is really in basketball mechanics, you know what I mean? Skills, you know, so moves, you know, so move sets, you know. So it was like, I kind of was one of them guys where I'm like, bro, I'm gonna come out against this shit, and I'm gonna show y'all niggas, y'all don't know shit about basketball, bro. Like, you know, and I was just gonna use the game as a talking point, you know what I mean? And I was gonna make that the center of the content I was gonna make, because I really would just focus on real life. But I was, at this point, I was doing real life basketball breakdowns, you know, which I always have liked, and you know, it's just one of them things that I'm good at. And I was like, yo, it's just a passion that, you know, I was watching it. I literally was watching the game. I really was just doing it for me and my shorty, man, just teaching her the game type shit, teaching my homie Mill the game. And so it got to the point where I started realizing people don't know basketball no more. And so I was really just doing it as like an attack, like an ideological attack, you know, just standing up for core basketball tenets and principles, and, you know, and kind of proving the old ways, like, nah, this is how shit go. We can prove, because everybody, oh, oh, the game is different now. Everybody new is better than everybody old. I'm like, hell no. You know what I'm saying? And kind of just getting into that debate. And I was using 2K to do it in my stream. I was going to use that as a platform, the game, you know, and kind of breaking down live actual basketball. And it just turned into something where I was like, yo, I'm just going to do a stream. You know, and it's the kind of content, and I started investing in it, you know what I mean, getting the capture cards and stuff. But then, like I say, the next gen came out, and I had this whole series planned where I was going to do like an IRL series, and I was just basically going to role play as my real self, going to the NBA, going through college, and I was going to turn the high school aspect of it into community college, and I would say, all right, I'm walking on from my community college to Texas Tech, a D1. Then I'm making it to the NBA from there, and I was just gonna speak on, like commentated, like get into the real element of like what it would take, because like I say, I actually played basketball growing up, and I played against people that, and I know plenty of people that play pro. You know, I could have played, you know, overseas and stuff like that. So it's like, you know, but it's a business too, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, and you know what I'm saying, if you're not all the way in it, you know what I'm saying? I always wanted to do what I'm doing now, you know, content creation, production, and you know, music, you know, entertainment. I always wanted to kind of be in the entertainment and kind of edutainment, you know what I'm saying? Teaching through entertainment, you know, education, entertainment. Those were like kind of the, you know, in communications, you know what I'm saying? I kind of always wanted to be in that, broadcasting and stuff like that. That was always my passion, outside of basketball. And then even me just being I don't want to say like a introvert maybe, but just like a independent thinker, you know what I'm saying? So it's like the team mentality. Like the reason I never really you know, was able to commit to basketball in high school, man, was just even just going through the training camps and stuff, like the gang mentality of a team, you know what I'm saying? Where it wasn't about necessarily being the smartest player, this and that, the third. It was more just like being part of a group. And so I realized like me, I was somebody that was like kind of internally and independently motivated, you know what I'm saying? Like I realized, you know, I was that kind of guy. When I wanted to do something, I wanted to do it. And so you know, when I got into music and production and all that stuff, man, that kind of gave me a platform where I could express myself, and my only boss was me. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't my success wasn't predicated off the coaches and things like that or other people. It was just basically like I can independently, you know, ascend into whatever I wanted to as I wanted to. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like, I kind of took over. It was like something I could do alone. I didn't need a team. I didn't need a facility. I just needed, you know, computer. You know, I just needed to put in the work by myself. You know what I mean? So I just found that was the road I was going to take. That's what was best for me. And so getting into that aspect, I wanted to explain to people what all those elements, and exercise those elements to understand, like the worst player in the NBA is the best high schooler from where they're from. You know what I'm saying? Like they're the best nigga from they block, they hood. Like you niggas ain't even that. And so it's like you can't even you know, certain people, unless you played, you can't even understand the level that it takes. Even these new guys now, like that, you know, everybody's D1, D3, this and that, because it's more avenues now. You know what I mean? There's more information on how to walk onto a team. There's more stories being shared from players that went to these schools, and, you know, they're giving back advice. It's more of a thing now, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you got guys that play D1, D2, D3, that, not D1, I won't say D1, but you got guys, like even you got niggas, what's the boy name, man, who played D1? Whatever his name is, man, little dude, he basically run around playing people, and what did he title it? D1 player. You know what I'm saying? Because even his skill level, just the whatever he went to a like a relatively not popular prominent D1 school, but to even get to that level, you know what I'm saying? And then to see him play against like NBA players and see the difference between that skill level. That's what the average person that's just playing 2K and talking that shit, they not getting that. They think these niggas just run around. They think to dunk, they think niggas is running to the rim, pressing Y and pressing X. Like, no, bro. Like, there isn't even a button for planting your feet. You know what I mean? Training and getting your weight right. And, it's just, this shit is not real life. So it's like, there was an element I wanted to show people. Like, okay, breaking the fourth wall. Even if this was real, if this game was to be more like real life, this is what it would be like. You know what I mean? And kind of give the kids something. Like, if I was doing content, give people something to watch based on reality. All right, you don't like watching the actual NBA, it's too much going on for you. Here, you like watching video games, you like watching streamers bust niggas' asses and copying the moves. Let me show you some shit that's gonna work in real life. Let me jump into that world and let me show you how it's done, because I've been there, I've done that. As far as like when I say that, I mean being a kid watching, basketball, then playing the game and trying those moves, and even the promotion in the NBA of certain players is bad for the game, because now you got everybody trying to play like Ja Morant in a 2K aspect, instead of you got 8th graders trying to play like Ja Morant, but they're not playing like Ja Morant played in the 8th grade, where he was passed first, lockdown. You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't watch him at Murray State. So it's like the whole culture is fucked up, because art imitates life, life imitates art. So a lot of the NBA actually sponsors this game, you know what I'm saying? So most people are like, yo, this is an NBA game, so they're taking this shit to be realistic or whatever. So it's like, I'm like, all right, and I would try to train kids in real life, man, like getting into coaching and things like that. And even I started with my cousins. They play like they're on 2K. Like, they'll get the ball and they'll just shoot, or let's say somebody got a hot hand, they'll treat it like they're playing at the park. Like, all right, I passed to him 7 times, now it's his turn. Bro, everybody doesn't have an equal opportunity, bro. There's no equal opportunity in basketball, bro. So it's like the strategy of it getting away from it. And you should see the way my cousins play on 2K. They just pass to whoever, they do a dribble move with whoever, and they try to blow by you, you know what I'm saying, and run around the edge and try to dunk everything. So, like somebody like me, where, what I'm saying, I train players, my brother's a scout, you know what I'm saying, we film players, we produce scouting content, we go to games every week, all throughout the week for the last year and some change. And then even then, we played basketball growing up, we referee, we watch basketball every night, you know what I'm saying, we keep up and we cover the game, and we always have been following scouts and stuff like that. And it's just crazy, because even when you go to the real games in real life, these kids, man, they're replicating and trying to emulate what they do on 2K in a real gym, man. And it's just so crazy to me. So it's like, that's how I know, even to this day, you got NBA players, man, that worry about their 2K rating, bro, or they play in the park during the season. Instead of working on their actual game, they in the park, bro. So it's just like, you know what I'm saying, not to be like that and act like I'm better than anybody or anything, like being put anybody down for what they like to do in their free time. But I'm just like, I'm not from that world, bro. Like, I was the type of nigga, bro, I played 2K because, you know what I mean, I wasn't really playing, I wasn't working on my game to the level that I should have in real life. It was an escape. And so that's when it really hit me, like, now watching people playing this RPG, GTA, like NBA niggas that are like, people, the video game world is more than just having fun. It's like where you're sharing content now. It's like, it's a form of expression. It's digital art now. You know what I'm saying? Where people are expressing themselves through these video games. You know what I mean? And sharing their ideas through the content they make. So it's like, I'm like, you know, and it's real, it's highly consumed. So I just was at an element of like, all right, I'm gonna get into this world and I'm gonna use this to put a lot of knowledge out there and get people back into the real life. So it's just kind of like a putting the what they say, putting the medicine in the candy. You know what I'm saying? But also, you know, you got nigga 12-year-olds and stuff like that. They can't be outside. They got homework. They get on their team. This might be, you know, they don't have a full day, you know, all night to do things. So this is a form of entertainment, you know, and hopefully this will help people understand the actual game to where they can watch the real game and appreciate it for it is. Appreciate all levels of basketball overseas. There's so much basketball. You got a British league now. And guys, and even players, you know, you might, and this is something I wish I had focused on. You might not make it to the NBA. You might not make it to a D1 college, but you can go play community college. You go play JUCO and still get where you want to do. And you can, instead of working a 9 to 5 or a desk job, you could be training some kids, or you could be an assistant coach, or you could be playing in one of these leagues getting paid. You know, instead of, you know, I got so many homies, man, that were good enough to play, but just not at that top level because, you know, it wasn't a lot of information on what it would take to get to the NBA. Like, as far as like, if you didn't have somebody like a father figure or a coach that knew and really had went on that route themselves or been around the game, you know, you took shit for granted. You know what I mean? Instead of doing what you was doing, you was fucking with girls and things like that instead of really being on your grind like that. And if you're not one of the top athletic freaks in the world. So it's like, I kind of want to, now with what I'm doing, I got going on, I'm in the basketball space, I'm kind of using this as a platform to make content that, you know, maybe the younger kids, you know, 8, 9, 10, you know, they could like be the little me's, you know what I'm saying, that would have loved to see this, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's what I'm doing with it. And it's just like, I was trying to make the series for that reason and starting and getting into it. And then once 2K kind of bottomed out on the current gen, I had actually, yeah, like I was making a series where I was like, yo, I'm gonna just make a my league with my actual college. And I made all the players, this and that, the third. And then I was going to stream that. I was like, fuck my career, you know what I mean? Like, fuck the NBA, you know what I'm saying? I'm not in the NBA. I was like, let me make my real self. And then I just came up with an idea to make all the colleges they play that into my league. And then I'm like, yo, I could use that content and blend it to the NBA, the My Career series, and act like I went from community college to D1 to, you know what I mean, kind of replicating a lot of the content out there. And I was like, I'll play it like a first person role playing perspective, you know what I'm saying, and make my own animated series, do the voiceovers, you know what I mean, edit the, you know what I'm saying. And it started on the last generation. I made a little league, and I was like, but I had to get the rating system right, because I wanted it to be like weighted properly, you know what I'm saying. I wanted it to be scaled properly. Like, you know, obviously I can do shit against some pro players, some college players that I'm not gonna be able to do against Stephen Curry and all of them, because, bro, and I kind of wanted to keep the scale that way, because a lot of times you see people make college or like, even if you look at the WNBA roster, it's a whole different game. So somebody might be a 95, but you can never, that person that's a 95 in the WNBA would be like a 50 something in the NBA, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if you look at these ratings, these niggas is 56s, and that's just not to disrespect them. That's just based on, you know, the worst NBA player I think on this one was Miles Powell, and he was like a D1 nigga volume scorer, you know, in college. So it's like, y'all, that's what I'm saying. That's what it come down to, is when I'm trying to show niggas like, y'all not even fucking with him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just started taking this super serious on the IRL level. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yo, I'm just gonna make a bunch of IRL leagues, of IRL content, and I'm like, I'm just gonna blow this up virally to where we're using this game and people want to play some IRL type shit. I'm gonna be the nigga that make it. You know what I'm saying? And then it allowed me to, talk about the things I like with real basketball, and you know what I'm saying, and just be a little platform. Like, all right, yeah, instead of keep, and that'll be something to challenge, like where I put it on in my Instagram and I tell niggas, you feel me, yo, I'll make you on there, boom, 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 I'll put you in, woo, 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 send me your da 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 da, you know what I'm saying, and it'll be a new thing, like I was calling that shit the Lance League, you know what I mean, so it's gonna be the Lance League, niggas was gonna do whatever, I was having ideas of niggas playing for money, yada yada, right, and I was just like, mainly the content was gonna be a good thing for YouTube, it was nothing really. It was some stuff like it, like people make the little high school stuff and Mikey Williams, bro. And so as I was making it, mind you, this a few years ago, as I was making it, more people was making content like that. And I was like, yo. And so I was trying to find the rating scales to make, like I said, I was starting with Pierre Jackson. And so I started kind of getting the idea of like, all right, where people I actually knew what their rating was, you know what I'm saying? And so then from there, I started getting a rating scale. But then as I was playing it, I realized like certain shit in the game was broke. So it's like, even if you're a small guard, you'll have a 70 speed, but a big man that was 50 speed, like, 2K Labs and all of them have showed people that shit now. They would catch you on the break. So I was like, this game is broken. You know what I mean? So I had made all these players, all this whole idea, and the game was broken because all of the lower overall players, you didn't really have an advantage, because if you were faster than somebody in real life, like me, I'm faster than Joel Embiid. So the only advantage I have is to be able to get around him. But on the game, that wasn't represented. So I was like, yo, this shit is broke. But even then, I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to show people, stop spending your money on these games and living through these games. These shits is broke. You know what I'm saying? And I was gonna go down that route, but then the next gen came out. Niggas was telling me, yo. Then I came to an understanding that, okay, they're like, well, they came out and said that they're not patching current gen no more, at the time. And so I was like, damn. So I'm like, all right. I don't, at the time I was like, I didn't have the money I didn't really even have the time to do all of that I just knew one day I'm gonna get to it. You know what I mean? So I was like, let me make the beta on current gen, right? Which really, I've been making different alphas. I'm like, let me make the beta on current gen. And I'm like, once I know that, you know what I mean? I was just basically waiting, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't that big of a deal because I was gonna make it work. It was just a passion project, like I said. So as I was, finishing school and shit, I had got into my real business, and my real business is in real life, and this was just gonna be something that I did as a passion project, just for the younger kids to watch on YouTube, to where it wouldn't fuck their mind up on what the game was, just an alternative. I wanted to provide an alternative, and change the culture per se in the landscape, right? And so as I was doing that, my cousin, he had bought the Series S, and I played it, and he was like, yo, you know what you be doing? And I think I was making a G League and all of that with my homies. I was like, yo, I'm like, if anything, the closest thing we will be able to do is make it to the G League, you know what I mean? And you see people on YouTube walking on, and so I was like, yo, I'm gonna make a G League to kind of test, to get a baseline, because that's what I was gonna do on my series. I was gonna make my guy go to the go from college and go to the G League. And weave that into the My Career series, you know what I'm saying? And just edit it to as if it was all one big piece. And so as I was doing that, I was looking up these rosters. Then I found out, I was looking up G League ratings, and then I found this attention to detail roster. And I think I got everybody that I made for NAIA. I'm going to just focus on that right now, because those are the only ones I really need. I got different. Look, when I was telling you I made all my homies and shit like that, I had them pick a school, and I made the people from their school. Here go my brother right there, and I was just trying to get a rating scale. So that's when I learned about the 2K rating scales, and how basically it's not even basically based off of like what you are in each category. Certain categories hold more weight to their engine. And so I was learning all of this shit, and looking up different ratings and shit like that, and different rosters that have realistic, people had rating generators and stuff like that. I was like, holy shit. So I was utilizing those resources, and I was studying the game, because I was like, all right, I just knew once I got on next gen, I'm like, I better, once I found out they made a different game for next gen, it was a different game, a different feeling to it. I was like, okay, I'll just save whatever, you know what I'm saying, I'm thinking for next gen, right? And so I was already doing that, gathering all the information. I was like, I really was like, I'm gonna take it serious, and I'm gonna make videos on how the game is good and real, or I'm gonna make videos on how the game is broken and it's fake, and how it's fucking up real life. And I'm gonna show evidence and show what's broken on the game. I'm gonna go outside and show people doing this in real life. I was like, I'm just gonna destroy this impact that the cheesing on 2K has on real shit. You know what I'm saying? So and I was like, either way it go, I'm gonna make content out of this shit, because I'm just going against this whole quote unquote culture or something, right? So when it came down to it, I was looking up this roster's ATD, attention to detail. So they were like, yo, current gen is kind of broken, we going to the next gen. So I went to the next gen. It's basically like an analytic roster. I'm not really gonna get into what the roster is. It's just they use analytics, and they do testing, simulation testing, to basically adjust the attributes on the game to get real life results through the game engine. You know what I'm saying? So as they had that, I went to my cousin's house. He had got the Series S, and I was picking him up one day. I was waiting for him, and he let me play his game. And he was like, yo, they got the G League on here. He was like, everything that you've been trying to do, they already got on the My Career for, next gen. So I was fucking with it, and I was like, oh shit. They had the G League rosters on there, and then ATD, they had like a whole group of people that made the real list. I was like, yo, I could definitely, this would translate better. This would be less editing, less stress. This game is a lot more fluid. So my criticism of 2K kind of just, I ain't gonna say it went away, but it went away, because I was like, yo, okay, this is a very good game. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yo, I would be unfair to look, this is what I was also, even look what I did, bro. Like, I had made all the, see, they have this on the game now, but I had made fuck all that. That's a whole nother video for another day, as we do a data extraction. But we'll finish this later. But just know that once I got the next gen, I said, oh, okay, the game is not completely broken. So I had to scrap my whole idea of what I was going to do on current gen, because I said that's not even really fair for what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm just going to carry everything I did over on current gen to next gen, and then we'll see where it goes from there. So, let me show y'all what I was trying to tell y'all about the buildings and stuff that they patched. So hopefully somebody is able to do it, but if you look here, right? So look, I made all these schools. Wait, I made so much shit they can't even keep up with my shit. But look, yeah, so I made all of these colleges and schools and stuff like that. So if you look, right, this is a G League gym. You know what I mean? So they took the G League gym and they, it's supposed to represent like a more of a college gym, like a college field, which is way different. Like if you go into a college arena or you go into a university, it's way bigger. But if you go into like a community college, right, it feels like you're just playing in a regular but it feels like you're playing in a regular gym. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the distractions aren't there that would be if you played in a statement. Like even your depth of perception, knowing where the lines are, like all of that shit is different, and we're gonna get into all that just from my experience. This is just all my experience, what I noticed. You know what I mean? And it's things that I want to speak on. But you see, look, I got the guarded by myself. That'd be me. Let's see. Let's compare these aiming engines. But yeah, even on this, like the blow by, it was broken. Everything was damn broken. So it was like, once I found out you could play in my player camera in this shit. So I think right here, I think you gotta play in player lock. But yeah, I just play with different sliders and everything to make the shit realistic. And I scaled it to playing against NBA players, which I'll show at another time. But that's what's so crazy. Once you play on the next gen, the engine is so much immersive. You get more of a feeling for their physics. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but even still, it's like the movement is limited on here. But, and everything, the releases are so different. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Let me go to what I was talking about, because time is money. I gotta actually get on business time now. I gotta say, man. But I always said, if I'm gonna do all this, I'm gonna get paid for it. So I'm gonna monetize this shit. I'm gonna do what I gotta do, yada yada yada. But let me show you the different feel. Like, yeah, I just basically wanted to build something where I could just speak from my perspective and use all these animated aspects as references. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not a digital animator, you know what I mean? So I'm just using this as a animator. To look, okay, so yeah, you see the gym here. You know what I mean? Like the walls, basically like everything, like the bleachers and stuff, it's got that feel to it. You know what I mean? So you got that college feel, that community college. This is actually like the same size as the gym, you know what I mean? So it's like as you running down the court, the fans is right there. But you know, if you play ball, you know a gym when you in a gym. You know how you gotta learn the walls and everything. You know the spacing, the way it feels, right? It's like your depth of perception, how far you are from the sideline and all of that, right? Even the crowd, whatever, woo, 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 woo. So you see here, nigga, this is what the Skyforce Suave, I guess. So yeah, they just took the G League building, and I'm pretty sure somebody could probably do that on next gen. I probably, whatever, figure out how to do it. But a lot of people use those for the high school buildings. Then they actually have like this North High Dragon as an actual high school gym with high school lines and everything. Is crazy. I would hope they were able to redo that. Whoever did it was a genius. But versus playing in a stadium, you know what I mean? The depth of perception is just different. You know what I mean? So look, you see I did attention to detail, NIA, where I put NBA players in the joint. I actually don't really know what this is, to be honest. Oh, I put me against NBA players. That was just to get the ratings, so I used their roster to kind of do some tests and stuff. But we'll get into all of that shit later, man. I gotta really get off this shit. You know what I'm saying? I did everything I need to do. So we'll watch this back and pick up where we left off. Hey.